And welcome back to Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, and today I'm joined by a guest we have not had in some time. It's good to have him back in the booth. I'm going to let him introduce himself. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Gary Frog Talbert. I am the councilman from District 2 on the Livingston Parish Council, and I'm also a candidate for State House of Representatives District 64, which represents Watson, part of Pride, kind of little part of west part of Walker, and the north part of Denham.
So basically from one representative seat to another, just at a higher level. Going to be interesting to see. Of course, that's in a fall election. But today we are talking about something that you had proposed but has not made it to a council meeting, at least yet. You're focused on TikTok, specifically on government devices. So tell us a little bit about the background of why you got into this.
Look, TikTok is a security risk, plain and simple. I mean, there has been, you can watch congressional hearings, you can watch what's happened throughout the country. You can go back and look at, the 2016 elections and 2020 elections on our president, that there are foreign governments that have an interest in what happens in American elections. And we know that TikTok and WeChat are two social media platforms that are owned by companies that are part of the, Chinese Communist Party. There's a law in China that basically says if you're a company in our country and we ask you for information, you've got to give it. There are no rights that the citizens have. There are no rights that these companies have to withhold information. Everything belongs to the Chinese Communist Party. They give you permission to operate, so to speak. So, it's been established through committee hearings and different things. The CIA, the FBI, NSA have all talked about the Chinese government is mining information, from Americans on TikTok. And so my proposal was just to follow what the Congress has done, what the what the state government's done throughout the country, is to ban the social media platform TikTok and WeChat off Livingston Parish governmental devices, not personal devices, governmental devices. If Livingston Parish government or a subsidiary of Livingston Parish government, i.e. the Livingston Parish Council, is paying for the device, then you can't have TikTok or WeChat on it.
So, it's kind of an interesting distinction to make. Like, obviously, if you have your personal phone with you, you can keep whatever you want. But if, as you said, the parish has issued you that device, how many devices has the parish issued?
I don't even know. It's a as a councilman, we were all given the option of having a, council cell phone. I chose not. Look, I have a hard time keeping up with my phone, much less, pack an extra one around. We've all been given iPads to help run, the meeting, so to speak. So, every councilman's got an iPad. I'm sure employees of parish government, if you need to contact them, they've been given cell phones. People in administration have cell phones. We know that all the libraries have computers that are of subsidiary of parish government. So there's all those library computers, all the computers throughout, every form of government, whether it be DPW, the administration, the council, all those, laptops and or standalone devices could have TikTok app on them. So we're just asking that they be removed. And it's not, we were giving them 30 days. If after the passing of the law and it being signed, it went into the implementation was 30 days. So you had 30 days to figure out, is this like a device that applies? If I'm on a stipend, does it count? Or if it is owned by the parish, does it count? And so consequently, the ordinance was written by Moody. Chris Moody looked at, we basically asked him about other ordinances. he gave us a list. The girls in the council office edited the ordinance, sent it back to him, and he said grace over it. He said, this is bulletproof, so to speak. What we don't want to do is create additional, litigation or something else. We just wanted a plain, simple little ordinance that protected, the citizens of the United States. I mean, because we know that the Chinese are doing it. Look, they just flew a balloon, across the country.
Sure.
And there was on the way over here today, I'm listening to the radio, and there's concern about the fact that they flew over a Smithfield pork processor, a Smithfield ham plant. They worried that they flew over the pork processing plant to steal corporate secrets so that they could then start, taking a proprietary type, information and utilizing it. We know that they do corporate espionage all the time. So, and then they steal those intellectual rights and utilize them, for their own benefit, for the benefit of the Chinese Communist Party. And it's just amazing to me that we don't understand that or see that happening at the Livingston Parish Council.
So what is your general, like you said, they're coming after data, corporate espionage, that kind of thing. First and foremost, let's establish, what is your concern about the parish of Livingston?
Look, they gather information. They gather trends. They look at weaknesses. They want to maybe infiltrate every election that they can. I mean, so consequently, anything that they can gather, they utilize. They're looking at, what type, as I understand and reading from some of these committee meetings and reading the stuff, they look for tendencies, and then ways to attack in a manner so that you don't realize it. I look at what you might go through on the web, and then I figure out how to send you information that would allow me to gather additional information from you. And so, look, all I'm telling you is that, the state of Montana, if I remember correctly, the legislature banned it in the whole state. Look, we're not reaching that far. We're not even trying to deal with your personal stuff. There are people in this country that do dumb stuff every day. That is their right to do that. And we're not trying to take your personal rights away. We're just saying that if the parish is paying for their device, that they should be protected. It's not like we have a big TikTok campaign within Livingston Parish. What benefit does the parish get by having TikTok on a parish device? None that I can be aware of. So the only thing that exists out there is problems. I mean, if there's no benefit to the TikTok, if we don't have a big public relations campaign that's utilizing TikTok, what's the need for the app other than for it to be utilized to gather information? Look, we know that there are malware, spywares, all kind of things that exist nowadays. They can be presented, onto the device through apps. So why do we want to subject ourselves to, a level of exposure that serves no benefit to anybody within the parish, from a governmental point of view? On your personal computer, that's your business. If you don't think it's important, that's fine. Look, probably a few months ago, I had a TikTok app. I didn't really use it. I didn't realize that sometimes I would watch TikTok because it would be tied to some other, like Facebook or something. So, and at some point in time, I don't know, I had WeChat on there too. I didn't even really have an account. It just was an app, it said WeChat. When you click on it, you couldn't even, they've been deleted. My profile was deleted from TikTok. The app was deleted from my phone. It was never on my laptop or anything. But what's the point of me having that if somebody can come in and gather information about me or the things I do or my family or anything? What's the benefit? to me to have this app when you consider the risks that exist.
Sure. And so, yeah, WeChat is an interesting app. It's very much like WhatsApp that comes down from Meta, i.e., Facebook. It's just a chat program that also integrates some other things, but it does require some authentication, typically from people who already have the app for you to be able to use it.
Right.
So, as I understand it, this ordinance was introduced, but it has not been heard by the parish council.
I tried to introduce it. It wanted to be sent to Miss Sandifer, asked that it be sent to the ordinance committee. She asked about Meta. Well, Facebook and Twitter, they're not owned by foreign governments that hate us. I mean, let's just face it. The Chinese Communist Party has no love lost for the Americans, our country, our democracy, our form of government, our way of life. And so, big tech, we know, has the ability to mine if they want to. We, from what I understand, the government doesn't feel that they've gone too far yet. They don't share that information except among, within themselves. They utilize, and you have the ability to block it if you want to. At some point in time, if it becomes a problem, I'm sure that, the federal government will address, big tech and Facebook and Twitter. The outrage over TikTok and WeChat is basically the ownership. I mean, there's nobody's hidden it. I mean, the CEO of TikTok testified before Congress, and if you listen to those hearings, he didn't say anything to curb or make me feel safer about what they were doing. I didn't develop a warm, cozy feeling in listening to his conversation or his response. So I just feel like, given that situation, until there's a problem with American-owned companies and social media, let it continue to do what it does. It's our government. I mean, our country is built on, uh, we're a we let business operate. As long as they're not harming the public. And so I think, given this situation, if Facebook, if Twitter, if some of these other apps create problems, then they need to be addressed. But right now, we know that there's a problem with TikTok and WeChat. So what's happened is it was introduced, it was sent to committee. I didn't go to the committee meeting. I've written the ordinance. I know what the ordinance needs to say. If you want to modify the ordinance or add to it, that's up to you. They didn't take it up, so I put it on the agenda again. There was some aggravation that I put it on the agenda again to be introduced. It was sent again to the ordinance committee to discuss it. Mr. Delat, I didn't go to the meeting again. I mean, like I said, I know what the ordinance needs to say. It's past scrutiny. If you want to add other apps to it, that's your business. I just want to get before the public. I mean, just let the public talk about the ordinance. Mr. Delat asked that it be, tabled till I came, and Mr. Wascom wanted to kill it. He said that there was no need to introduce it. So my question is, why does ordinance committee, are they representing the people of Livingston Parish, or are they more interested in representing, the Communist Chinese Party or the people of the Republic of China? I mean, why are we so against having the public comment on a ordinance that would ban TikTok and WeChat from parish-owned devices? I mean, it's just is amazing to me. There have been a few that have suggested that if someone else would have introduced this ordinance, it probably would have got a hearing before the public. I would hate to think it's that bad, but there's that possibility. But right now, as it stands, it was at a committee hearing Monday of the Livingston Parish Ordinance Committee, and it was voted on not to give it a favorable recommendation, not to bring it back before the council. So I don't know where we're at this point in time. Mr. Wascom had made a motion when it was sent to ordinance that if it didn't come back positive, it couldn't be reintroduced. I'm not sure if that's legal at this point in time or not. So I'm doing some research on that. But I suspect I will continue every meeting to try to reintroduce this ordinance, and I'm sure that at every meeting there'll be the group of 4 or 5, whatever, that, doesn't want it introduced will continue to send it back to ordinance committee. Um, so I decided to just, reach out and see if we could do a podcast about it. Let's let the people of Livingston Parish determine whether they think it's something that's worthwhile. Is it something, there seems to be some people that believe there should be no social media apps on parish owned devices because they're about work, and do you need social media apps for work? Look, I'm not going to debate that issue. What I'm going to debate is that TikTok and WeChat are areas of concern because we know that the Chinese Communist Party are utilizing them to gather information on American citizens.
So, as you said, it was at Ordinance Committee Monday. You believe that it was voted upon not favorably coming out. What, you're not sure where you're at, as you said. If you had to guess, what would be your next step after this?
I'm gonna send an email to Chris Moody and just ask him, can it be reintroduced? And then can it be reintroduced until we get a public hearing? Because typically in the past, even ordinances that came out of the ordinance committee without a favorable recommendation, we allowed the public to comment on. Very rarely in the past have we killed an ordinance in such a manner that the public couldn't even comment. Um, and so that's kind of been the irony of this particular situation is that something that seems so non-controversial. You know what I'm saying? Given, there was a poll run by Pew, I think, that 50% of the American people were in favor of banning TikTok on government owned devices. 22% were against banning it, and there was 28% undecided. I don't know how the undecided splits. If the undecided splits 50-50, it's overwhelmingly the American people are in favor. And it's a bipartisan issue. This isn't a Republican issue. This isn't a Democratic issue. This is a bipartisan issue that you know our divided Congress can seem to come together over. Yet in Livingston Parish, we can't even get it introduced to let the people talk about, which is ironic to me.
Sure. So, as you said, you're going to be reaching out to, and by the way, that is the parish council's legal representation is Mr. Chris Moody. So you'll be reaching out to him to see what, if anything, can be done going forward. And of course, this podcast and David will follow up with a story. Will serve as sort of like a general notice to the public that this is going on in terms of you wanting to get rid of TikTok on public-owned devices. Anything you'd like to say to wrap it up here?
No, just that's it. I mean, there was some comment made early when the ordinance was originally written because I identified the library, but I just wanted to people to understand that there are a lot of government that's part of Livingston Parish government that you might not realize. There's a lot of subsidiaries to Livingston Parish government, and so I just wanted to identify at least one of them so people would understand that there might be a time when you go to the library if this passes and you're not going to be able to access TikTok, and that's why. Because so I just that was seemed to be there was a group that was against it, and so I just thought that it was something that I need to just go ahead and let people know. This is not singling out any particular deal. It's singling out an app and the owner of the app and the fact that there's no benefit, or the benefit doesn't seem to outweigh the potential harm that can be done with allowing the Chinese Communist Party to gather more and more information on the citizens of Livingston Parish or our government.
So that would be WeChat and TikTok, which a lot of hearings going on. You feel free to Google that. I'm sure there's a lot of video out there you can go back and watch. CEO of TikTok did testify in front of congressional committees. There's the word. And of course, WeChat is also tied to the Communist Party of China. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens on a federal level to those two apps. But again, Mr. Talbert here is trying to get them banned off of government devices, which, as you said, have been issued. across Livingston Parish. So if you introduce yourself, please, sir.
Well, that's it. My name's Gary Talbert. Glad to be here with you today. Appreciate your time. Hopefully we didn't run too long and people get bored with this podcast and they listen to the whole thing. But thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And again, District 2 councilman from the Watson area. Also will be running in the fall for House District 64, which also includes the Watson area, but also some areas east and west of that district. So going to be interesting to see what happens in the fall. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys out there for joining us for the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show. Please remember the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays. It's $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. One last time, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.